Hi, 8th graders. This is for the blue book. We're going to go ahead and start on our very first chapter in our first section. This is a very tough chapter, so make sure you're paying very, very close attention and understanding the directions. So we're going to always start with the I can statement. It says, I can solve simple equations. So I'm going to be able to solve simple equations by the time I'm done today. You will notice right off the bat we have 4 properties. Normally on our other notes we'll see vocabulary terms here, but there's no new vocabulary in section 1. So we're actually going to go ahead and start and look at the properties. So this one, the first one we have is addition. This is saying that no matter what, if we add the same thing to both sides, the equation will remain equal. This is very important to remember all of these. The next one we have is subtracting. Subtracting is when we subtract the same number from both sides, the equation still remains equal. Multiplication, I bet you can guess, but multiplication property of equality means that if you multiply the same side by the same thing, so multiplying C to each side, it remains equal. The last property is our division property. Division property of equality, I'm sure you know already, means that if you divide both sides by the same number, they will remain equal. Okay? So these are just the properties, but you'll understand them more once we keep going. You will see this step-by-step box. This is for when you get stuck and you're not sure where to go. You can look at the step-by-step box to help clarify any questions you may have. So the first thing, we need to ask ourselves, what operation is being used in the problem? Is it adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? What is actually being used? Next, we're going to say, what is the inverse operation? Inverse, if anyone remembers what inverse, that means opposite. What is the opposite operation? So remember, adding and subtracting go together, multiplying and dividing. So if we're adding in the problem, we need to subtract. If we're subtracting in the problem, we need to add. And vice versa. If we multiply in the problem, we need to divide. If we divide in the problem, we need to multiply. Next thing we need to ask is, with a given number, use the inverse operation or the opposite operation we just decided on both sides. You're going to solve for the missing variable, and then you're going to check your work. Always remember to check your work. So, example 1, we have x plus 8 is equal to 12. What operation is being used in the problem? We have addition. What is the opposite operation? Subtracting. Given number, we're going to use the inverse operation for both sides. I like to draw a line down so we know what side we're going from. If I'm subtracting, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. I want to subtract the number away from the variable. I want the variable or the letter to be all by itself. So make sure you're taking everything to the opposite side. A positive 8 minus 8 is 0, so that's gone. So on this side, all we have left is x. Then we have 12 minus 8. 12 minus 8 is 4, so our answer should be 4. Now, we're not done. We need to check our work. Always, always check your work. So we're going to go ahead and put 4 back in for x. 4 plus 8 equals 12. Is that true? Yes. So that would check. Good. Next one has decimals in it, but it doesn't change anything. You can do one with decimals. We have to go back to the question. What operation is being used in the problem? Subtracting. What is the inverse operation of subtracting? Adding. So we're going to add. Remember to draw your line down. We're going to add on both sides our 4.5. Okay, by doing this, a negative 4.5 plus 4.5 should give you 0. So this is going to end up crossing off. We're left with x is equal to, and you can use your calculator, so go ahead and grab your calculator. Put 20.5 plus 4.5. I'm going to wait until you make sure you get that in there. You should have gotten 25. Now, again, we can check our work. 25 minus 4.5 should equal 20.5. And if it does, then you can write a check mark because it checks and it works. Great. The next one, we have an example 2. This is going to be our multiplying and dividing part. Now this one has a fraction in it. Fractions can be scary, but don't worry, we're going to figure it out. So this is actually multiplication in here. Okay? Now, there's a trick on this one. Because it's a fraction, we're actually going to go ahead and move our x up. So it's going to be 1x over 4 is equal to 3, and we're going to make this a fraction. Put a 1 under it. Very important. We're then going to go ahead and do our butterfly method, or our cross multiplication. 1x times 1 is 1x. 4 times 3 is 12. Now I could divide by 1, and then we would have x is equal to 12, which is what we had. I ran out of room, so you can't really see it. Now we can always go ahead and check our work. 1/4 times 12, and you can put that into your calculator, will equal 3. So that does check. Now make sure with this, if you're going to use this trick, make sure you add a 1 underneath it. So you have two fractions to cross multiply. This is the absolutely most easiest way of going ahead and doing this. It's tricky, but you can do it. Last one, we're going to go back through our questions. What operation is being used in the problem? It's dividing. And then we're going to go ahead and look, what is the inverse operation of dividing? We know that's multiplying. So we're going to multiply by 5 to each side. Dividing 5, timesing 5, that's going to cross off. So we're going to be left with n. And 6 times 5 is 30. So we're going to have 30 on this side. And we're done. We're going to check our work. 30 divided by 5. Does that equal 6? Yes, it does. Okay, good job. Now, just to check and make sure that you watched the whole video, I'm going to give you a problem over here on the side, and you can either do it on the back of the page or right at the bottom, but I need to see your work and see that you did it. So, we're going to say that 1/5 x is equal to, we'll do 10. Okay, so go ahead and solve that problem. I will come around and check because I know how tricky this one is. So go ahead and do this very first example on your own, and I will come around and double check. Please raise your hand if you have any questions. Don't forget to go back and watch what I did. If you need to re-watch it because you're not sure how I did that, make sure you take the time and go back through the video. Okay, good job today. We'll continue to work on solving equations, and right now we're only working on one step. Good job.